Let's get started then. Hello everyone. It is me, Cadena, together with FuryTomic, and today we're speaking here with Alex Robinson of Robinson Armament Company, the creator of the XCR rifle platform, and what is the first ever Girls Frontline related manufacturer review. We'll be discussing a few topics today, ranging from the history of the company and the XCR's development, how sales of the rifle have been before and after the rifle's featuring in the video game, how the company views Sharkry as a character, and how they view the newfound fame with the new unofficial mascot. We'll also be asking what projects they have in the upcoming future. And at the end of the interview, we'll be doing some viewer submitted questions. Thank you for your time today, Mr. Robinson. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. So what I wanted to do by having this giant presentation is for it to kind of serve as a visual aid to you so you can get a better idea of what some of the newer topics we'll be discussing today are, and mainly as how those pertain to the game and its fan base. So you can kind of understand how we get to the point where you see the character on the right on all your Twitter posts. And
Okay.
uh, I guarantee that all the stuff that you're seeing is a result of the fans actually like really appreciating you guys. And for the viewers, what I hope that they get out of this presentation is that it should serve them in getting a detailed history of the work that you guys have done, so they can kind of see what had to happen before we even got this character into the video game. So it's kind of supposed to be a summarization for both you guys at Robinson Armament and the fan base to hopefully appreciate each other in a little more of a newer and more comprehensive light. We're hoping we can do something pretty cool with this today. So, the Robinson Armament Company was created in early 1996. Is that correct?
It's close, yes.
And its office was, and it's still currently located in North Salt Lake City, Utah, right?
We've moved around between South Salt Lake and North Salt Lake. Yes.
Okay. So I have a few questions already. How many employees did you guys start off with back then?
Oh man, I had a manufacturing company that I ran that made machinery to make everything from rocket motors to golf club shafts, and I split off of that. I started it. I had always had a love for firearms, and we started off with just a few people, and we still have just a few people, really, comparative to other companies. But we're not a huge company, but we try to create custom firearms for those that really care and really want the best.
Yeah, so something kind of unique compared to the what's usually offered on the market nowadays.
Very unique. It still is after we've had this XCR for almost 20 years now, and still few people know about it. We really haven't marketed it. We had so many foreign sales to begin with, we didn't really go after the US market, which sounds kind of strange, but it's weird. I hate to say it, but a lot of people in the US don't use critical thinking and try to evaluate products the way they should, I think, especially with firearms. They figure if a military uses it, it's the greatest thing in the world. It's perfect if the US picks it, but that's far from the truth.
Yeah, I would agree with that to some extent. It, I think some of the features that the rifle well we'll discuss those more later, but I think that some of the things that your guys' firearms bring to the table are pretty unique, and we'll be discussing that, some of the stuff that went on with the trials.
Sure.
We'll discuss those soon. I think the things that you guys have come up with are pretty interesting though, and that's part of the reason why I had an interest in doing an interview in the first place, because I thought, well, I haven't really heard about the company prior to the video game, and now I'm thinking, well, yeah, now I'm into the video game. Let's check out the rifle. I'll discuss more on that later too. I think you guys come up with some pretty interesting stuff. So neither of the two rifle platforms are we'll be discussing today, the M96 nor the XCR. They're not true AR or AK platforms like what you commonly see. What was the firearms market back then when the company was created?
It was created because when I was young, in my early 20s, I started buying rifles and machine guns. And I noticed that the M16 really wasn't that reliable. And actually, when I got my first AK-47, I thought, this is really a much more reliable platform. And I also bought I bought everything I could. I have FNFALs, G3s, I have all kinds of belt-fed machine guns and everything. And I thought, it's interesting that we use the M16. And so I thought, well, maybe we can make something better. And when I say we had trouble with the M16, we had short stroking, we had what they call it, stove piping, failures to feed, failures to fire, just a lot of things. It's a Stoner designed a very nice platform. It was super lightweight, but it was meant to be a lightweight firearm for an Air Force use. And they put it into Vietnam, had a lot of problems, made a lot of fixes, but there were still some things the gun couldn't do. And one of those things was be multi-caliber. People have shot other calibers through the M16 AR-15 platform, but it's not ideal feeding. For instance, the 7.62 by 39 round, there are a bunch of AR-15s chambered for that, but they seldom are that reliable. Seldomly are they that very reliable. And the AKs were good. As a matter of fact, we started out importing guns from Russia. Was doing business in Russia with my other company, and we imported started importing the Russian Vepr, which it means like wild boar, and a factory called Molot, or the Vyatsky Polyani machine building plant built them. And I went over there, and I was originally going to work with Izhmash, but they wanted money up front, a bribe, so to speak. And I was approached by Molot. They said, "We want you to be our agent." And so we started importing them. And they were fantastic. It was fantastic to work with them and bring in the Vepr rifles. It was basically an RPK, which is a heavier AK-47. And we got them. We had to make them in many calibers, and we sold them all over the U.S. and some I think we sold to Canada. But after doing it for quite a few years, we couldn't get them to change it the way we wanted it, so it would be more compatible with standard AK parts. And it was it wasn't just their fault. It was our government too. And so we kind of backed away from that. And I thought, we're going to make our own rifle. And we decided the best AR platform I could find, and it's not really an AR platform, was the Stoner 63 modular weapon system that Eugene Stoner came up with. And I believe it was James Sullivan took it from a 308 down to made it into a 223 rifle. We made that for several years, but we couldn't do everything we wanted with that system either. We copied a lot from this original Stoner 63 with this M96 you're showing on your screen. We actually improved some things over the Stoner. It actually shot more smooth. It was smoother to shoot. We did that by accident, not because we were brilliant or anything, but we had to change some things, and it actually shot smoother. I have an original Stoner 63 system, and but we couldn't do everything we wanted to with it. And it was super expensive to manufacture, unlike an AK, which is just a stamping with a few riveted on, cast parts. We had to precision weld all these little teeny cast parts onto this sheet metal, and then keep everything straight. It was really poor manufacturing design, the Stoner 63. It wasn't really a good firearm to manufacture. So we decided we'd design something better, and that we couldn't use an AR platform. We couldn't use the AR-15 bolt. We couldn't do that like everybody. 99% of the manufacturers of black rifles, or whatever you want to call them, assault rifles, they use basically a Stoner type bolt. That includes the SCAR, the CZ, Brenz, you name it. They all are basically Stoner bolts. The bolt in the XCR is more of an AK bolt. I hope that explains some of the history, gets you a little bit closer to where you want to go.
Yeah, we'll be covering the XCR in its own dedicated slide soon. It's funny that we went immediately to the M96 because I had to do a little bit of research on it beforehand, and I thought it was a really interesting gun. Some of the questions that we actually received, like that we'll go over at the end, are apparently people are more receptive to the idea of having a gun like this being reproduced again because the market nowadays, I think after the like let's say the 2004 like assault weapons ban, after that's gone, would you say that more people were immediately interested in getting like an AR platform? Just
Not really. I mean, the people we worked around it. So the M96 started out we during the ban from it was 2000, what was it, 1994 to 2004. And there's a lot of people that it kind of made it's whenever something gets banned, people want it more because they're afraid it's not going to be around. And so we had to make it, we couldn't put a folding stock on it. Couldn't have a flash hider or bayonet lug. And so the people bought them. They bought them like crazy. And they're super, like I said, they were super hard, expensive to build. And if and when we bring it back, it's going to be like $3,000-4,000 for the base model. It's just the cost of what it takes to put these together. And there's like 2 or 3 hours of hand welding on the things. We couldn't automate it without changing the design drastically. So um, I think that the ban created more people. And then, of course, when it went away, which is interesting because the Justice Department basically looked at crime, and the assault weapons ban had no effect on crime. And yet there's all these states that are banning stuff like this, and they ban them because they don't trust their citizens um, with them because they want to rule over them without any pushback. That's basically what it boils down to in every country that bans their citizens from owning this type of firearm.
Yeah. Well, currently I'm in California, and
Hmm.
not to get into the weeds too much, but it's like you just see the laws that are here, and they're supposed to be, set in place so that the justification more or less that people tell you about these laws is, oh, they're supposed to stop like a mass event or something. And then I remember like a few years ago, we here in California we had two mass shootings. The first one was the Monterey Bay one, and then the second one, I forget, it was like more northern up. And I said immediately when that happened, I was like, well, yeah, this was obvious to anyone who has to deal with these laws. It's like you can circumvent them if you really wanted to. So what is any of this stuff doing? But
Well, if you want to, you can't keep drugs out of California. What makes you think you can keep guns out of California? I mean, or anywhere for that matter. I mean, it's probably easier to, I don't know, to illegally import guns over the border because they don't have a smell the dogs are going to find, and et cetera, et cetera. But the California, we still can make we have some models that we can sell in California, but they make us do ridiculous things to them that really don't make any sense. Um, they make these guns called featureless that you don't have a pistol grip that you can grab correctly, and there's just there's magazine limitation requirements. But these mass shootings, they sometimes they call two people being shot as a mass shooting. And actually, the assault weapons ban was largely started because of a mass shooting in California, I believe. I wrote a paper in 1988 and predicted that I was in law school at the time and predicted that the U.S. would try to ban the semi-automatic black rifles all the way back in '88. But there was a shooting it was where a guy shot some people in a Stockton, California schoolyard, and the press, Associated Press in particular, wrote an article saying there was a semi-automatic gun that had been converted to full automatic, and that was a pure lie. I called them out on that. Anyway, the gun registration. Another thing that's crazy is most people don't know is Israel. They got attacked that October attack where so many people were killed and taken hostage. They don't have a Second Amendment over there. I cannot believe it. And even though there's and females have to go through military training, they could not own a semi-automatic weapon like this and guard their border with it. That is absolutely insane. Anyway, that's all I'll say. I'm getting too far off track. But
yeah, it's one of
it's
those things.
insane. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like living in California, you just kind of have to like I have some friends that are out of state, and sometimes they wonder like, "Hey, why do you get so heated about the like gun issues and stuff?" And it's like, you guys don't know, man. It like every little minor like new additional law that we have to deal with, every state senate bill that we have to like see every year that passes on like around this time. It's just it's pretty frustrating, but uh that's we're getting a little bit into the weeds.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's
If you get
okay.
me talking, I'm very passionate about it also.
Yeah.
We sold the M96 in California, by the way, and the DOJ went around and using they didn't have enough DOJ agents, so they got INS agents to go hire them after hours to go around and collect them from people. It was crazy. The NRA came in and stopped it, but it was absolutely nuts. So
Yeah, it's just That's just crazy. Uh, this rifle, did it generate significant revenue for you guys at the time, or?
It did. It was just like I said, it's really hard to make. And it's funny. People want it now that they can't have it, but we would have made many, many more. But people look at them and see welds on them, and distributors, of firearms in the U.S., big distributors look at it and say, "Oh, this isn't pretty like the AR-15 with all the smooth lines and stuff. I don't think it'll sell." I mean, literally, that was the mindset back then. Uh, we were, we were the first ones to come out with a rifle, something new, and it's not that new. It's got a multi-lug bolt. It was piston driven, unlike the AR-15, but um, it was a very unique gun and very cool. Shoots very smoothly. We'll probably make them again when the market improves even more. But it's funny, we've lost so many states in the U.S. where we can sell these guns. We've lost Illinois, Washington State. Uh, I'd like to see the Supreme Court just say, hey, AR-15 type guns can be had in every state. You can't. Hawaii ban stuff. I've ceased to travel to these states that I hate to say this, but that um, have these bans on my weapons. I don't want to. I actually am going to California for the first time in about 10 years for my grandchildren to go to Disneyland, but that's the exception.
Yeah. Referring back to the welds, it's like I have a PTR like their G3 clone,
Mhm.
and I don't really see like more with the younger crowd that they want to get stuff that isn't just an AR-15 nowadays. You don't really see those that much of those complaints with them that I've
They don't have
noticed.
many welds. They don't have many welds, really. There's very few welds on a G3 type, gun. Very few,
Yeah.
very few. These things have them all over them. You have 8 different precision castings that have to be welded to the upper alone. It's ridiculous. Whoever, figured that would be a good way to make a gun is it's nuts. We could make one out of aluminum or something a lot easier if people wanted that, something that looked the same. But we thought about that, but that's a hard one, hard question.
All right. Let's go to the next slide. So this is where we're going to be discussing the 2004 SCAR trials. So in 2004, the U.S. Special Operations Command, or SOCOM, launched the Special Forces Combat Assault Rifle Program, or shortened to the SCAR program. They wanted to replace all of SOCOM's assault rifles, carbines, subcarbines, battle rifles, and DMR weapons in service with 2 different weapons that could fill the role of everything else. Um, the light and heavy SCAR variants, which were the SCAR-L and 5.56 and the SCAR-H and 7.62 NATO respectively. They also wanted those 2 platforms to be modular or be able to be reconfigured in a hassle-free way by the operator. And this modularity requirement needed that the parts be completely interchangeable within the same model version. Alternate barrel lengths and caliber changes needed to be able to be installed easily within 5 minutes or less. And parts commonality between the light and the heavy version should have been reasonably high, meaning things like the grips, stocks, and other parts should fit between both the small and large frame guns. The modular nature of the weapon should be that an operator should be able to configure the gun as either compact as they needed for close quarters or be lengthened out to reach substantially longer distance as needed per mission while still using the base platform. SOCOM at the time had a bunch of different weapon systems at their disposal: the M4A1 carbine, the Mark 18 close quarter carbine, the Mark 11 Mod 0, and the Mark 12 special purpose rifle, along with some of the other iterations of the M14, like the EBR variant. So, if I'm understanding the purpose of the trials correctly, SOCOM had all of these because they were each configured to meet a specific niche depending on their lengths and accessories, and they wanted to go forwards with a new gun that could fill all the roles just by swapping certain parts, correct?
Well, you got to understand the real history of this gun. Um, they didn't just decide one day they wanted this gun. It actually happened after 9/11. After 9/11, the next month, we were called got a call from a member of the 5th Group Special Forces and said, "You want to be involved in a program? We have one of your M96s. We want you to come to Crane Naval Surface Warfare Center immediately." I did. I had to sign a bunch of secret stuff. This is where the SCAR came from. If you really want to understand the program, you got to understand where it came from. Um, they wanted to be able to go into Afghanistan with a weapon that could shoot the enemy's ammo. All right. And they called this program the SPRV, Special Purpose Rifle Variant. And we participated in this, and so did Reed Knight of Knight's Armament. They wanted it to be able to shoot 7.62 by 39 and 223, so they could have this dual, caliber capability, and maybe shoot 545 by 39 too, by the way. So we had never built a full auto M96. We had 60 days to build a full auto one that would shoot two calibers. Knight had a Dutch version of the AR-15, which he submitted, which shot 7.62 by 39. The guns went to trials at Blackwater, and our gun won out. But for 60 days to do all this testing, and we worked over the holidays. This was from November to the next year in January to get this done. The soldiers loved the rifle platform. There was a couple of problems with our gun. Even we had a receiver crack. In the short time, we didn't use the materials we usually use. Tried something new that we could get heat treated faster, and it was a problem. There was a couple other little things, but the soldiers loved loved our version of the SPRV. It was called. If you do some research, you can see it on this thing. I got called back to Crane. They did a brief. They wanted these to go into Afghanistan. Well, the soldiers deployed to Afghanistan and wanted to know where the Robinson rifle was, but they canceled the program anyway, citing that, it would take us too long to fix. There was just, like I said, very small problems with this weapon system. And so I told them, you really need to start something better than the AR-15. And the guys from Fifth Group were all behind this because they in Somalia and some other places, they had shot people like 5 times, put 5 rounds of 223 in them, and had them still run away. All right, I'm sure the person died, but they wanted something more lethal, so they developed this 6.8 SPC cartridge on their own. This was really weird for a group like the Fifth Group to do it. Steve Holland of the Fifth Group did this, and I talked a lot with him. And this is how the SCAR program started, through the Fifth Group. Steve Holland and a guy, Colonel Jack Dills, went to SOCOM Command and got it approved for many of the reasons you talk about. They wanted a new weapon system that could do some of these things. All right. The spec went around and around and around. So there's 3 groups of people putting what the spec should be in for this. There was industry. They had, even though this whole thing was kind of my idea, the SCAR program, and Steve Holland's, it got given to all of industry, got to participate in it. Whoever wanted to, that could qualify, could participate in it. And then you had the contracting officers, and then you had the soldiers. So there's 3 groups, and the spec just kept changing and changing. We couldn't build anything. And then they finally, before they finalized the spec, they threw an enhanced grenade launcher module. They merged that program with the SCAR program. And that was not just any old grenade launcher. This is some super duper one that ranged and did all this stuff. And we actually did it in 2 months. We literally had 2 months to do it. And I confronted the project manager, Thomas Spellacy, about this, why they threw this in. We don't have one. We've got 2 months. We've got to develop one. This is absolutely ridiculous and unfair. Why are you doing this? And I confronted them at a SOCOM Special Forces Day in Florida, and got them around a table and asked them flat out, and none of them would say one single word. I knew something was dirty, something was up at that time. Well, goes on a little further, and maybe I'm getting ahead of, if I'm getting ahead of what you want to ask, tell me. I'll stop and let you ask some more questions. But what happened was, we had to do that, and in the rush to get it all packed up and out, our shipping clerk forgot the blank firing adapters. They were on the packing list, but he didn't put them in the package. And we airmailed those, but they got there 1 day late, so they wouldn't even look at our system. So that's the history of the SCAR program. What you should know is they don't even use the SCAR 16 anymore. It's gone.
Yeah.
They've taken it completely out. It was a failure. And they use the SCAR 17 some because it's a lightweight 308. It's the lightest weight 308 they've got.
While we're at it, actually, let me just go forward into the because we discussed some of the topics of the XCR during the trials anyway. Oh, and I actually do have a slide on 6.8 I should have somewhere here. But is it normal for them to say just something like that, like you guys are missing the blank fire adapter, like that's it? Or
Well, if it was a specialized blank firing adapter, I might have agreed with them. I had to hire a $500 hour attorney in Washington to go after him on this, and I decided, and weren't answering our requests. It was just crooked. And by the way, Thomas Spellis, went to jail a few months after he left. He quit. Anyway, I don't know what happened. I know when he left the service, he got caught bribing people within the service as part of his consulting group, and he got sentenced to 18 months in federal prison. Just to give you some background on the project manager of that thing. But the blank firing adapter is a standard AR-15 M16 blank firing adapter. That was just a bogus excuse for not testing rifle. We were actually called by a colleague a month before we even shipped the rifles, said they've already done a deal under the table with blank. I'm not going to say the name. They've done a deal underneath the table with them. I said, you got to be kidding me. I've spent millions of dollars doing this, and they're not going to, yeah, they've already chosen somebody. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. This is what someone told me that was in industry, that was involved and knew what was going on. But the blank firing adapter was just an excuse, just a pure excuse. And people say, oh, Robinson was dumb. They were still stupid. They couldn't provide the thing. Yeah, it's just a flat out lie, and everyone's bought it, but that's okay. We don't care. It's gone. Our gun stands on its own.
I actually have some of the other submissions for the trial. I think what I'll do is I'll just go over them and see if you can
Sure.
recognize them. Let me go back.
Yeah, this one had a detachable magazine. I think they could do the 223 or the 308 in one gun. I can't remember
Oh,
who made it at the time. Colt, yeah, the Colt.
yeah, it's I found that Colt submitted three different prototypes, and that
Mhm.
the Type A and the Type B were supposed to be more direct impingement style like a traditional AR, but then they also submitted a third one, the Type C, that was closer to
With a
like a
piston.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you recall seeing these at
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't remember who made it, but I recognize it. They have you can see there's a little takedown pin below the mag release. And I think you could take the mag well off of this and put a different mag well on it, if I remember right. I'm not sure. I forget at the time. It's interesting because you got to look at what the soldiers wanted. And one of the best things about the SCAR program, well, they tried to do it. They got all the top operators from all the different special operations units. I got to sit before them, ask them what they wanted on their rifle. And they wanted better ergonomics, caliber change. They wanted the charging handle. The biggest question I had for them was where to put the charging handle. And they basically said anywhere but near the top rail. And I go, what about, should it be reciprocating or not? Non-reciprocating. And that's not what they got. Anyway, that's just a little
oh, and then do you recognize this
tidbit.
second one? The Cobb Manufacturing MCR?
Let me see that one.
It's the one on the right. The
Oh, maybe that's okay. I misspoke. The Cobb is one with the detachable mag well. Sorry. Yes,
um
I thought these were both on the right and the left the same thing, but they're not. Yes, I remember that one. It's basically an AR-15, like everything else is today.
are you familiar with Cobb Manufacturing? Were you
That
familiar
was
with them?
I know it was neat. Their little magazine change thing was neat. But that's all it had different than an AR-15.
In the research that I did, they said that the MCR was or their version of it, the multi-caliber rifle was disqualified during testing because one of the rail systems loosened up during the testing. That's what the CEO Skip Patel said at the time. Who was
Yeah, I'm sure they figured out some way to get rid of it. According to my source, they'd already decided, and so um, yeah, but the AR platform is just really not that reliable, and I don't care what you make on it, you put a piston on or not. It's the extractor system, the ejector system. It's just not as good as the AKs or the XCRs. That's all there is to it in my mind. But yeah, that's it's basically just an AR, and you're going to have a lot of the same problems. I'm sure uh, it ran fine, probably.
And they were similarly like you had names like FN and Knights Armament and
Mhm.
Cold Defense among some bigger ones, and Cobb Manufacturing, and you guys were kind of the smaller ones. So were you guys kind of intimidated at the time going into this, or how did you guys feel?
No, we hoped that we would get a fair shake. We didn't, and I was very naive. When I got called from Woody Woodall of Walter Barrelson told me that they already chose a somebody. I don't know how he knew, or but I don't know that. That's just what he told me. I was just like, oh, they can't do that, you know. But you know that it's really hard to get a military contract. They these big companies have a lot of sway, and we've bid on a lot of foreign business, and the terms are so ridiculous that we haven't done them because of that reason. We had someone that we had a country which I won't name that definitely wanted, you know, tens of thousands of our guns, and the payment terms were so bad. I just said, forget it. You know, I'm not going to do it. They wanted me to produce, you know, 20, $30 million of guns, and which I would have done, and not pay me till we made them all. And it just, I mean, it was kind of it's kind of it's kind of ridiculous. But a lot of the terms are like that. And these big, we there was allegations of impropriety of another big company in Peru where we were trying to get the M96. I'm not going to say which company it was, but our agent down there said he caught him bribing the officials, and it's just tough. So yeah, you won't see us going after any, you know, military contracts, especially with the U.S. government. I don't trust them. Maybe now with Trump involved, maybe things have changed. I doubt it. I
Yeah.
doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
And then here we have the FN Gen 1 Scar prototype, the one that ended up
Hmm.
winning the whole thing. We
Hmm.
also found some pictures of the Knights Armament SOF light individual
Mm.
carbine Kalashnikov prototype, or SLIC for short.
Mm.
Haven't
I
seen a
never
lot.
seen that one before. No.
Yeah, I think when I was looking this up, it said that they, like, in the 2010s they showed like a video of it, and it didn't really, like, that's all the mentions I could find of it pretty much. Um,
Yeah, it looks like they got a charging handle, you know, like an AK, reciprocating charging handle
yeah, that's why
on
they
the.
put Kalashnikov in the name, and I think they just wanted to fish out for that pretty cool acronym, the SLIC. Um, for the people that aren't aware of the XCR, can you give us like a rundown of all the features of the rifle? That
Well, the important thing is we I like the ergonomics, which we patented. The the bolt catch and the charging handle where it is really um, the some of the great things about it if you've ever shot one. And some people that aren't very smart say, "Oh, you know, can you put a charging handle on the other side too?" And for the reasons the special forces guys said, I don't want it there. We could have put a small charging handle up near the top rail, and then you'd be, you know, racking your knuckles against your optics and other accessories. Uh, and we decided to put it down where John Browning put it on the BAR. You know, the BAR was the first gun to really have a charging handle where we have it. And then of course, a lot of the bars were made in FN of Belgium, and so Didoni Saib or whatever his name is from FN came up with the, you know, similar charging handle on the FAL rifle. And I'm a big fan of the FAL, especially it's actually a very good looking gun, unlike the SCAR. Um, the FAL is a beautiful gun. I had a charging handle there, and the only thing it lacked was the forward assist. Some of the Israeli models had it, so we basically used a Israeli type FAL charging handle on our rifle. So you have forward assist built in, and the charging handle doesn't reciprocate. Um, Internally, the bolt and everything works a lot like an AK. It feeds better, it extracts better, it's got a better extractor, it's got a solid ejector. Those are things, and people always ask that don't understand guns at all, why is the ejection port so short on your gun? And that's because we can get away with that with the solid ejector. And people also ask, hey, why don't you have a cover, a dust cover? An AR-15 needs it. This doesn't. That's the reason. If you get just a little bit of, here's a great test for all you AR fans out there. You can take your AR-15, take the lower off, put a little flour in it in the receiver, just a little, just barely like a dusting of a flour in there. Actually, do it without forget. Actually, forget the flour. Just take and push on both ends of the bolt, on the front of the bolt and the back end of the carrier, kind of push them together as it would approximate pushing a round out of a mag, and move your fingers back and forth. You'll move the whole receiver back and forth because it cams against the upper receiver and causes friction. The AKs don't do that. AKs are a wonderful firearm. Kalashnikov was a total genius, as was John Browning, and they just run smoother, run easier, slicker, with very little wear on the parts. We have a much larger, stronger bolt, which can take some of these new calibers like the 6 Arc and 6.5 Grendel. You hear a lot of AR bolts breaking and people trying to redesign them, making out of special metal and all this garbage. But we've got a system that can take the heavier loads. It's just designed better from the start. And then, of course, because the action doesn't go back in the stock, you can have a folding stock, and that's kind of nice. Make it a little more compact. And then on top of it all, make it caliber changeable, and that's another thing that's not a small feat at all. A lot of people have tried to copy this with the ACR and now the AXR and all this stuff. I think someone else has a UXR or something, good luck to them. We've got this shooting many calibers and it's tested. It's reliable in every caliber we make it in. Those are some of the things that make this gun great. And it's made by an American-owned company, too, by the way.
True. So did you guys have to iterate like a few times to get the specifically like the caliber change conversions? Like,
Yeah, it's really hard. We did a bunch of crazy stuff. I'm glad we started out right, though, with the base design was truly, we thought a lot about it, what we wanted to do. We actually, our very first version we were going to offer to the government was a tilt bolt, actually, not a rotating bolt, a tilt bolt gun. It required a little head spacing with a screw, and they didn't like that idea at all. They didn't like. I still kind of like it. Might want to build that one day. I think I'm going to rebuild the AK one day. I think I'm going to do a Robinson AK one day. But this is basically a Kalashnikov, a complete Kalashnikov inside, just for the heck of it. But we had to do a lot of iterations. We made them really short, so they could shoot 7.5 inch from a 7.5 inch barrel. We could make it actually shoot it from a 5-inch barrel, but you get the Sig Rattler. It's a ridiculous shooting 223 out of a 5-inch something barrel. I mean, you just lose it all. A 9.5-inch barrel is actually a little bit ridiculous, but we do it. It actually makes more sense than a 5.5 or 5-inch barrel. But it was really hard to get this all right, and we're continually refining the system. It's been 20 years, and it's not a lot different than this original SCAR, though. Not a lot, but there's a lot of
yeah,
little things we learned. We learned how to make them accurate. At first, they weren't as accurate as they are now. That was hard with the quick change barrel. But they're almost match quality accurate now. Almost, I say. I don't. They
yeah, and
shoot. They shoot better than most people can shoot.
the next two slides we'll have videos just comparing the caliber change process between the SCAR that did win the competition and then the XCR. Because
Mhm.
what I got from like really inspecting the XCR, and I have two of them. I have the one that looks closer to this one, the original one, and then one of the modern ones that I ordered in the last year.
Mhm.
You guys had like they told you guys that we need the caliber conversions done pretty quick. We need them done in like 5 minutes or less, and then it seems like did you guys purposefully design to get those aspects like we need everything
No,
changed?
it was that predecessor we literally came up with what the specs should have been for this rifle. Literally, we we told Steve Holland of the fifth group we could do that, and he really pushed that that kind of quick change stuff. They wanted to be able to shoot the Russian ammo if they needed to, the 7.62 by 39, and they also they were looking at 6.8 at that time. They wanted to be able to shoot that also. I don't know if they ever chambered the SCAR for that or not, but I really haven't followed that. But we wanted it quick change and had that as part of the thing from the very beginning, because we'd made the M96 and that was even faster to change. You could change the barrel in seconds with that.
Yeah. So you guys designed the rifle to basically like emphasize the speed of doing all these processes, right?
We designed this rifle to my specifications, not to anyone else's. The SCAR thing, all the stuff they came in with at the SCAR conference had no really bearing other than where we placed the charging handle. We had already, I mean, we knew what we wanted, what we wanted to build, and how we didn't, and how we wanted to build it.
Okay. This next one should be a video, and this is just a video that I found online showing how the calibers change on the SCAR system.
I've honestly never even done it myself.
How you doing, guys? Malik over at Modern Pawn. Today we're going to do a quick video on, if you do happen to have a SCAR 17, how to change the barrel out when the new barrels come out. So we're going to do a little quick video on properly removing the barrel and reinstalling it back in the gun. What you need, guys, to take apart the SCAR 17S for basic disassembly, there's no tools required. You're going to push this pin, slide the lower receiver forward, the rear stock then lifts up, bolt assembly comes to the rear, charging handle comes out, bolt and spring come out, and now you're left with the stripped upper receiver and the barrel inside of it. To take the barrel out of this gun, what you're going to need is a T25 Torx head bit. There's 6 captured torque head bolts, these 2 right here and the one in the front. That set of 3 and the matching set of 3 on the other side are what you're going to have to use to take the barrel out of the gun. So what you're going to do here, these are, if you listen to that clicking noise, there's some kind of detent inside this plastic housing right here that causes these to have a detent so they won't rattle loose. You're going to spin them until they stop clicking. They are captured. They will not come out all the way. They are also slightly spring loaded, so they will, once you spin them loose, they'll spring up and pop up and stay in that position right there. So you'll loosen all 6 of these. Once you have all of these loose, you want to make sure that they're sticking out and fully extended. So you want, if you turn the upper receiver on its back, you can see that they're all sticking out. They're all pulled loose. You're then going to slide the barrel forward. Once the upper receiver is about 3 inches forward, this lower piece of handrail moves along with it. You're then going to lift the whole thing out. And that's pretty much all there is to removing the barrel. These 2 blocks right here line up into a groove. You'll basically have the piston assembly forward of the receiver. This will drop back into place. And once you get this back in place, you're going to slide that back in till it mates up with these bolts. You'll actually have to push down on these a little bit to overcome the spring tension. You'll feel them grab, and you'll hear that clicking noise, which is the detented bolts in the front. And you'll just do all 6 of these. You're going to want to screw them down until they bottom out. All those are properly torqued back down because we know they bottom back out, which is where they need to be. We then take our bolt assembly, charging handle. We then slide the stock back on. The lower receiver goes back in place. Clicks to the rear. Front pin comes back in. Gun's back together. Function check. Safety's working. Firing pin. Gun looks good. SCAR 17S, guys, really a very, very quick change barrel system with 1 tool needed. Very nice gun. If you're looking for this kind of stuff.
And I know he's doing it a little bit slower because it's more for this video is more for like demonstration purposes, but kind of what I wanted to show is the amount of steps involved in actually taking down the barrel. Let me see if I can go back a little bit. This lower part of the handguard, do you know if that's like integral to the barrel assembly? Like if you need to do a caliber change, you have to have like that on each different barrel, or
Yeah, you'd have to have that if you want to pick a rail on the bottom.
and that has to like that has to drive up the cost, right? For
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they made this thing so they could make it really cheap. I
oh,
mean,
okay.
plastic lower and plastic stock they've got alone, saved a lot of money
Oh,
making
okay.
stuff like that. It was probably fairly inexpensive they made a good profit on these guns.
Okay, and so we saw the FN offering, and now what we're gonna see is your guys' offering and how many steps are involved in doing that.
Today we're going to talk about the XCR-L and some of the caliber conversion kits and show how to change caliber. First of all, let's just talk about safety, about how to make sure the rifle's ready to fire. It's got a really nice takedown button, which is really easy to open the gun up with. But when you put the gun back together, make sure that the takedown button is flush with the seam between the upper and lower receivers. Okay, that's really important to do. Now we're going to talk a little bit about doing the caliber conversion kit. So you can take a 1/4-inch Allen wrench and you undo the bolt about 3 turns. And then it's good to pull back the charging handle and let the bolt fly forward. You notice the barrel jumped. Sometimes they're in there pretty tight and you have to pull back and let loose a few times, loosen them up, or put it down the floor and really get a good pull on it. I'm just going to pull the barrel right out. That's a 5.56 barrel. And the next thing we're going to convert to is 6.8 SPC. That's a really easy conversion. So I can take my 6.8 SPC barrel, plop it in, and I tighten it up by getting it hand tight and then turning it about 60 to 70 degrees. That's about as far as you can do it by hand. And if you put a torque wrench on there and tested it, that would be equal to about 240 inch-pounds, which we suggest you do. So I would also, after changing the barrel, I've got to change the bolt head. So I'm going to lay the gun down like this, pull out the action, and I'm going to grab the 6.8 bolt, put the 6.8 bolt in, attach it to the carrier, put that back together, and then I have to choose the correct mag, and so I use a 6.8 mag, and I'm ready to go. All right, now we're going to change to 7.62 by 39.
So basically, you guys also actually have the 6.8 as an offering in your guys' rifle. And what I wanted to show, contrasting the two, is just how much easier it was to do it on the XCR than the actual SCAR platform. So when I was doing the research into the rifles, I was wondering, like, I've heard that there may have been some government, I don't know if malfeasance is the right word, or stuff like that. And is it true? Maybe it's not true. And then you just kind of compare the two rifles, and it's like, well, maybe it's true, right?
Well, it's hard to know. We don't have any facts other than they threw that EGLM contract in at the last moment, merged it with the SCAR program, and really the EGLM could have been a standalone project. That's a 2-year development project of its own, and they threw it in and gave us 2 months. I mean, it's crooked for whatever reason. It's wrong. It's wrong. Especially, we'd spent millions coming up. We came up with the whole idea for this program in the first place. They treated us like a pile of crap. The 6.8 was kind of a neat cartridge. That this was basically the 5th group's thing. They wanted to be able to kill someone with 1 shot, and they came up with this cartridge, and it's within 300 yards or 400 yards. It's a really good cartridge.
And it has better performance out of a shorter barreled rifle than
Yes.
a
Then a
traditional.
223. Yeah, the larger the bullet, the better it is in short barrel. The larger diameter of the bullet, the better it works in the shorter barrels.
After the SCAR trials, you guys were left still with a perfectly functional design, and it was about that time that you guys were looking into expanding into foreign law enforcement and civilian markets, right?
Yeah, we sold them. We just let people come to us, really. We didn't, at the time we were selling a bunch of stuff to Canada. They bought them like crazy up there. It was not on their prohibited list, which helped us a lot. They finally killed us a few years ago, put our name on, as well as 1,500 other guns. They bought thousands of them, and they loved them. They worked in -45. I got pictures of guys. Don't ask me how you can do this. I've tried to snowmobile in 14 below. They're snowmobiling hunting coyotes in 40 below, which is the same as 40C and 40F are the same approximately. And they're nuts. They're like the Russians. They know how to live in the cold. But we did really well up there with them, and we didn't kind of just lived off them, which was a mistake. I didn't do much marketing. They just bought them. And we sold quite a few to other foreign countries too. And it seemed like it was easier because people weren't so hooked on the AR-15 in these other countries. They didn't have to be an AR-15. You know, it could be something else. They seemed to be more open-minded.
Yeah, and the reasoning why it wasn't on the restricted do you think it was just because it was like under the radar for the
Uh,
legislation there, or?
yeah, kind of that. And also that you couldn't convert them to full auto. There wasn't parts to convert them to full auto available, you know, just that anyone could buy and then try to, you know, there were some things like that. We were very careful not to sell full auto parts and stuff like that. So
Mm.
drawings how to convert your gun to full auto, and that it helped us in that realm.
And more or less, how much of those Canadian sales contributed to like your like what percentage would you say more or less
Well,
of your?
they were a lot of it, 80% or something at the time, probably. I don't
Wow.
know. Yeah, we just, we were lazy. And it was kind of nice though. We could just make guns, you know. You know, you pay for, there's a lot of things that go into a cost of any product. You know, you've got the actual design, there's design costs, there's manufacturing costs, there's testing costs, and then there's marketing, legal, all this other stuff. And can you imagine how great the world would be if we didn't have so many regulations that you could, you know, you get more bang for your buck is what you'd get. Um, I'm a lawyer by training, and I mean, the law is necessary, but we have a lot of unnecessary gun laws and restrictions in the U.S. and seem to be growing, even with Trump being president. These states, like I said, these other more and more states. Virginia is trying to make it tough for um, things like ours. The "Don't tread on me" state, if you can believe that.
Yeah. Can you briefly go through some of the enhancements you have between what you guys submitted back then and then what you guys have right now? Like I know you
Um,
guys.
the adjustable gas system is probably a big one. The other had an adjustable gas system. I think it was just a screw or something. I can't remember, to be honest with you. I think it was just a screw. The bolt and carry, everything's better. Runs smoother. We have an extractor that's like none other. It's probably one of the best extractors on any assault type rifle. Just made lots of little, you know, improvements like that. We made some accuracy improvements, which I'm not going to give them all away, but we made some accuracy improvements. We got a better trigger now. Our triggers are much better than the original ones. The stock is fully adjustable. As you see, the earlier one was just a tube stock. Stocks are actually hard. It's hard to make one that is light, sturdy, and we're really against the use of a lot of plastics in stocks. You know, it's actually, none of the structural components of the XCR are plastic, but you see all kinds of, you know, plastic used in guns, and in 20, 30, 50 years, are those going to hold up? That's a big question, including magazines. Are they going to be good in 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
Probably not. The steel mags will last.
Yeah.
And super cold weather too can affect the brittleness of plastics, and a lot of things
Uh,
people don't think about when they buy a gun. I just bought a Kel-Tec pistol. I think it's cooler than cool. But yeah, I always wonder how it'll be interesting to see how long it lasts. Very cool gun.
yeah. We've gotten a lot of questions. People are curious. Would you guys ever offer because I think the enhancements for the I have both like the older style one and the newer style XCR.
Hmm. Hmm.
And people have been curious if you guys would make like a weapon that has some of the internals of the new XCR, like the performance upgrades, like especially the trigger, but also have like it look closer to the older aesthetic because some of that being
Yeah, yeah. Keep going. No, keep going.
some of that is coming from the video game stuff, which we'll be discussing very soon. But
Yeah, you know what's funny is we got some people that want four rail XCRs again with the tube stocks, and we just may make that for them. You should know, unlike the SIGs and that, um, if you bought with the very first XCR we sold in the US, we can, or Canada, we can upgrade to current spec. So it's got all the new guts and everything. We do it all the time. We have a upgrade program. So you can upgrade everything on the old very first XCR to the new spec, which is really neat. You can't do that on many of our competitors' guns. If you bought an early MCX and want to get a newer one, then you know you'd be lucky if you can find parts for the newer one. we've actually discontinued the older part. So if you come to me and say, hey, I want a caliber conversion for my old gun, the only negative is I say, you want that caliber conversion, you got to upgrade your current stuff, and then you can use all the new parts. But I'm just being honest here. It's great. People do it. They love their guns. Matter of fact, we just did an upgrade on a customer's gun, and the gun looked like crap. He had hand painted, spray can painted the top of the gun, and it just looked like garbage. And we gave him a reasonable price to repaint and redo it, and it looks gorgeous. So not only does it shoot great, it looks great now too. It was one of the very first XCRs.
Yeah, I'm actually well, for the video game I had to get the new XCR in black just because it's what looks closest to the video game, and that was part of the intention of getting the gun. But I'm really a fan of the green color on some of these.
Yeah. So
And
if you want it black, you want it green, send it to me. I'll fix it. I can fix that for you. You
well,
know, or you can buy another one. That's even better. But
I might get into getting another one, but well, we'll discuss that soon. Wanted to briefly ask, there's been pictures and a video of some of the XCR showing up in the war in Ukraine. Have you heard any positive feedback from
oh yeah, great feedback, but we haven't heard from them for a while.
ooh,
Yeah, we had a lot of guys, and they sent pictures like you have here, and pictures of them holding the guns. And I guess we could have blurred their faces and done that, but we didn't. We didn't want to. We didn't want to encourage. Didn't want to do anything or post anything that would get someone killed or in trouble.
yeah.
So they went. They were exported legally. I will tell you that, but they had very good luck with them.
And
But the people we were dealing with, we are no longer with the company, and we don't know what the deal is.
you guys had an article somewhere stating that your credit card processors shuttered processing cards during
Oh
that time.
my gosh. So if you guys, most people that aren't in the gun industry don't understand what a pain in the butt it is. We had our web, we were using GoDaddy in Arizona. Arizona, is supposed to be a pretty good state, right? Pretty free state. Not really, but by the way they vote. But we were using GoDaddy, and our website, they decided they broke it and they wouldn't fix it because we sold guns. It was ridiculous. So we lost a month. It took, and finally find another company to host your website if you make guns or sell guns. It's ridiculous. This happened a few years ago, and we lost, I don't know, 2 weeks to a month of being up, because this company would not. We had to find another one. I guess it didn't take more than 2 weeks, but it felt like a long time when don't have money coming in, right? But also credit card processors have canceled us for the only reason is that they decide they don't like guns. And advertising, you can't advertise using Google AdWords. You can't boost a post on any of the meta stuff, Instagram or Facebook. Matter of fact, they shut us down on Facebook completely. We started back up, but we got so few. We have very few followers on Facebook. Please, everyone, follow us on Facebook. By the way, they shadow banned us, did all kinds of stuff. We posted stuff. We posted a picture of two young girls that won a national match with the XCR, them holding the trophies, and they took that down. And when I ask them why, is because their terms of use say you can't promote the use or sale. So basically, all you can really do is post pictures. And you can't say, oh, it's a cool, smooth shooting, anything like that. They want you just pure art, like art, just state what it is, and that's it. That's it. But you go beyond that, and you're afraid of getting shut down. I actually fooled Google AdWords for a while. They caught me and shut me down completely. It should be against the law. There's a section 230 in the law that needs to be removed that makes it so you can't sue. It's discrimination, pure and simple. And you get it from banks. You get it from website companies. You get it from some vendors. I had a vendor quit because he decided he didn't like he's making parts that went in guns. It's really it's not an easy thing to market.
So let's get into this whole thing. One day, you guys made a post showcasing the competition length version of the XCR being used by an actual competitor. A pretty normal post, and then it's like nothing out of the ordinary. Simultaneously, there was a video game fan base who, until previously, weren't aware that you guys even had like a social media presence until this post started circulating. And then all of a sudden, you guys get inundated with pictures of the creature on the right in your comment
Mhm.
sections. So, what were your guys' initial reaction to seeing that in your comments?
Well, I would love to say I played your games. I would love to. I'm I'm 66 years old, and I quit playing games a long time ago. But my employees were knew all about it, and we matter of fact, one of them's like 45, and he been shark knew all about Sharkry. But
Yes! Oh, we got a guy.
the thing that's funny, he's our engineer too. I don't know where he gets time to do this stuff, but um, maybe he needs to play a little less and finish some of these projects up. But anyway, um, uh, it came up and we thought it was kind of cute, and we got crap from like Brandon Herrera, the AK nut job guru. He's not a nut job. He's pretty cool. He ran for Congress, tried to. But he got online. I think it was on Twitter and said, we got fooled by you guys. What are you making fun of us for, communicating with you guys? And you know what? We didn't know who you were. It looked like Chinese involvement, which, I don't care. My son speaks Chinese, fluent Chinese. Um, I'm not supporting the communist regime, but anything that gives us a good exposure, we're all for, And so interfaced with you just on, I think X is where it showed up, and I was glad to have any exposure. Some people think it's childish. You'd be surprised how many adults play these games. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's some of this presentation afterwards will be kind of like going through that, like how do we get to a position where we see this? Because you have a lot more adults like getting into it, and it's a thing that's been kind of progressing in the background for like decades now. So you guys saw this mostly as like a positive to
Yeah, actually, I didn't know if it was going to be positive or negative, but people were responding to our posts, and I mean, what great. And X is one of the few places where you can actually say you've got a sale going on, um, which is great. Musk will not let you advertise using their advertising tools, though, which still troubles me. But at least I could say I got a sale. I had on Reddit, under our gun deals, uh, I posted something like rip scar or anything like that, and I had 52,000 views in like 8 hours, and they shut me down. Just completely shut my account down. They had this thing called gun deals, and people were selling guns and gun ammo on that subreddit. But anyway, so we're happy for any exposure on any place that won't get us shut down. And I know that the characters are so cute, on your thing, which that doesn't hurt anything at all.
Okay. So for this second portion after this, we're mainly gonna like explain and discuss like what that kind of culture
Oh,
is.
by the way, that the picture on the left of the guy holding the gun, they took that off. Facebook or Meta uh, took that down.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Wow.
I'm really sick of this crap. I mean, sorry, didn't mean. Go ahead and.
No, you're all good.
No, it's okay. Like to us, it's to us because we actually deal with the like firearms and all that stuff. It's like an innocuous like post, but to people who kind of like exaggerate the kind of those kind of things, it's like they make a bigger deal out of a thing that it's not. Like for us, it's like we know that he's like in a competition and he's enjoying his time, but some people just like don't get it, I guess. And it's kind of frustrating when those people are the ones that are like having to make these like policy decisions or just like taking things out of context that they're not. And
Sure.
so yeah, the second part of the presentation is just going to be like discussing how do we get to the point where character on the right shows up on firearms posts. And I'll let FuryTomic take it away.
So, just out of curiosity, just to kind of gauge with you, Alex, how much do you know like about Japanese animation culture or kind of like the cartoon anime sphere, as what people like
You
to call it?
know, I've watched a lot of video content with Japanese anime, and it's really cool. I mean, there's some neat stories that are told with it, and I'm not familiar with its beginnings or its,
Hmm.
that.
So, mhm. So kind of like naturally, like with Disney, as we know it, and some other companies here in the United States, Japan had of its own kind of like media consumerism age like where they want to do like animations, and definitely as time progressed into like the 30s and 40s, there's kind of been like, of course, getting pushed into propaganda to get help with the war effort and all that fun jazz, and a lot of it just kind of turned into media content that's just been stuck around and what people are really familiar with, and be able to push out content compared to how there wasn't a lot of like television or colored events like that back then. Then over time, after post World War II and Japan was rebuilding up the country, a lot of animators have decided they wanted to spread more of like the positivity and content creation with media again into their into their community. So a lot of that started to building up into some anime cartoons that came out in the 60s and 70s that were a little bit more like trying to be positive, lean more into positive light of inspirations for kids and teenagers growing up. Then eventually too into the 80s, into the 90s, things kind of started taking a little bit more seriously and a little bit more. They went above and beyond to do some really cool shit. Like, are you familiar with like Gundam? Like the big plastic models or the robot machinery that
Uh-huh.
transforms. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of that like started gaining cultural popularity in the 90s and 2000s, and that really kind of helped take off too with the anime scene wanting to do a little bit more like creative storytelling and cinematography in some sense, and a lot of that with like in contrast with how the movie industry's kind of been around that time, where there's that push of like you want to also go expand beyond from what you're used to seeing and something a little bit more interesting and different. So that kind of evolved into a little bit more of that fantasy tales that a lot of people are very much interested in, very committed to watching these days. Like there's a few shows like called Attack on Titan,
Yeah,
One
I've seen that.
Piece.
I've seen that.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. It's pretty cool too at the same time.
Yeah.
Go, whoa, you never even think about it at one point, but here we are. We have a lot of people that have some very interesting creative ideas and shows. And the latest one now is people really like the anything that kind of like helps keep them going, like the Mr. Makoto Shinkai movies, or like storytelling about two worlds crossing over to each other, or you have another portal or theme direction with today's current events. So a lot of it's just been different and changing with the media and in kind of like people's interest too these days. But I think what also helped build on to it, okay, Danny, you can go ahead into the next slides, is someone have just taken inspiration just from like real life figures. So
Hmm.
there's this show called Strike Witches, which is cute anime character girls, based off of influences of firearms, whether it be firearms, aircraft, you name it. Like I'm
Hmm.
sure there's probably like some kind of deviation of media of real life characters that people have taken inspirations from and created them into a character. So Charlotte Yeager is kind of like this character that's based off of I think a World War II pilot, or Chuck Yeager. It's surprising to me that like how the heck do these people even know who this person is? And it just turns out that they're really very much like big invested into history or learning more about what what their accomplishments was, and they wanted to create it into their Japanese anime media to showcase it to their community that hey, let's turn a character or a person that we know that's famous out there and have it be something that is very cool, very funny, and something that they can learn more into history. Like for example, um, the biggest one that actually this is where I've started getting into a little bit more into the anime and military and gun spear is a Japanese game called Kantai Collection or Konkole. So what they do is they take literal real warships from World War II and they turn them into anime girls. So the biggest one that many people know to this day still is a girl called USS Iowa. So she was introduced as a conceptual character for one of the events that the game had where they're based off of I forgot which battle it was, but they wanted to do a character and introduce an American foreign girl, and they decided to go with the USS Iowa because and many people, including in Japan, know what the USS Iowa is, and it seems like it's a very strong character or warship that any person in Japan would, if you ask them, "Oh, do you know American battleships?" They go, "Oh yes, USS Iowa." Yeah, and it just so happened to be that the USS Iowa, which is a museum ship now to this day, a lot of people, including tourists from Japan, go visit the USS Iowa solely because there's a character of her in this game called Contact Collection. And the tours, the staff there is, asking him politely, oh, so what are you guys here visiting? It's a little unusual to kind of get, some tourists from this state or this country. So, oh, from a video game called Contact Collection or Conclave. And they kind of, some of the staff did some research and they realized, holy shit, there's this character's a lot more popular than we imagined. And a lot
Yeah,
of people
it's
really like
amazing.
it because there's marketing. It's just like as with Sharkry and XCR, there's marketing that people are interested because it's featured in a video game or featured in an anime. And at this point, I think there's both another game too that features the Iowa, but I could be mistaken. And there's actually a few friends of mine that they really like the USS Iowa that they did a cosplay as her. They went into like they changed their outfit. They dressed up like the character and they visited the actual ship too, which is pretty cool. And I was like, I love that.
So is that a real person on the right? I
That
can't
is a real
tell.
person. Yes,
Oh,
that is
that's
a real
crazy.
person.
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
actually a friend of
That's
mine.
crazy.
She's, I believe, American born, but she actually moved to Japan and is living there now. So she
Wow.
speaks Japanese. She speaks really fluent Japanese. But of course, with her being born and raised in America, now working in Japan as a model, um, it's honestly like kind of impressive too with how people like take inspiration just from cultures and then how they've
Hmm.
expanded and worked out to either do something that they like to do for fun or how they just expand out their portfolio and get themselves a little bit more known out there. And honestly, kudos to her.
Yeah, that's neat.
Hmm.
And the post I have on the left is just like this viral post that has been around for God knows how long, where people brought up the designs of the video game uh, to the staff that actually worked there at the museum, and they had a chance to ask allegedly they had the chance to ask some of the veterans that were actually on the Iowa what they thought of the designs, and apparently they took it pretty well. Uh, they were fans of the design allegedly, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
cool.
just going back on this, speaking of which, actually, so yeah, it was kind of like a melding. The designer kind of had like experience working for some magazines that were related to hobby stuff, like doing little military-based figures, like like the scale models, stuff like that.
Sure.
And but he also had like some animation. He did some work on animation stuff. And so he kind of melded those two ideas, and that's how you get this series that does both of those.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that she's carrying a BAR. That's one of my favorite rifles. I've got several of them. World
Oh
Yeah,
War II
yeah.
bars.
that's
Yeah,
a gun I'd like to see more of, honestly.
they are amazing.
And I was thinking while you were describing like the charging handle on the XCR, I'm like, oh my God, I see it now. Like,
Hmm.
Yeah, look at the bar. It's on the left side, away from the top. Of course, they weren't mounting optics on them back then. But
uh,
Browning and Kalashnikov are. I don't know how they did what they did. That's all I can say.
yeah,
Amazing designers.
I think my favorite like underrated rifle from John Moses Browning is Remington Model 81. If you know that one.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love that gun. Me and this one guy on Twitter, he goes by Ivan the Troll. He goes crazy about that gun too. He converted his to 7.62 by 39 for
Uh-huh.
God knows
Yeah,
what
neat.
reason.
Yeah.
But it's
Just
cool
because he
though.
could.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like you can take down the rifle in half, and the fact that he made a design like that so long ago, and it's still so like interesting that he was able to pump designs like that. So yeah, so they combine kind of like those military aesthetics with this character, and the thing is like allegedly people were trying to back then when we still had Chuck Yeager alive, people were trying to ask him like, "Hey, do you know that they designed this character that was based on you?" And unfortunately, before he passed, we were never able to get a response. We don't know if he ever said anything about it or if he knew. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. He was the first man to break the sound barrier, and that like event of him breaking the sound barrier is kind of referenced in the animation in the first season where the character does the same thing, and it's kind of interesting just how like they reference the real life inspiration stuff into this animation. And this series was popular in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, and so that's how you get like people now back interested into the like the source, like what this stuff is referencing. And then um all this to say is like we think that Sharkry is kind of like a potential for people to be like, let me look into the character, like what is the character based on, and then that'll kind of like lead the fans of that into to your guys' stuff.
Well, it's interesting. We started asking, making for well, not yeah, forcing people to at least say something before they check out where they heard about us, and we've had a few mention Girls Frontline. And what's even stranger than that is one that said, "Well, I didn't see it on Frontline, but my friend told me about it," which is that's really a stretch. But yeah, we're getting some feedback. Some feedback, and people are I would think that the people playing games would want to buy these expensive rifles. They're very expensive to manufacture, but we'd love if they were cheaper ourselves. But it's just amazing that there's quite a few gamers that can afford um, things. And actually, we wish we were in a lot of other games. We've tried to get into some of the big games, but they've ignored us.
Yeah, I was one of the people that actually wrote that in the in the order, like when it said like where'd you guys hear us from? When I ordered my XCR, like I think about a year ago.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting. The crowd that plays like mobile games like this tend to do have a little bit sometimes disposable income. And it's kind of funny because we have like guys in the community like all over the place, like including in the firearms industry. And
Mhm.
I think that's how you get people interested in the game. Like maybe they're,
Especially younger people too.
Hmm.
They learn about guns in the games.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
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 absolutely.
that's really something.
yeah. Like when I was playing the original the first game, I really liked the character that's based on the M14. So then I'm like, hey, well, how do I get an M14? I can't get an M14, but I can get an M1A at least. I was like,
Hmm.
all right, I'll check it out. And then that's how I ended up with my
Look
M1A.
at some of these a little closer. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Fortunately,
had
need my reading glasses for the small print here.
No problem.
yeah, one of my one of my buddies does the social media for the National Association for Gun Rights. He does like their whole social media stuff. And he has stuff from the game on his desk at work. So
Yeah, we have I say, except for me, almost every employee plays games. here. They talk at lunch, I know, because they're talking about them and what level they're on and what they're doing. I wish I had more time, but I've got a thing called grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that takes up it's a little bit more important than the games at this stage in life, but the games are important, and they're a great release for these employees. I can tell they get online and fight each other and do all kinds of weird stuff and have their VR headsets and whatever those things are that and they all some of them fly drones now too. They fly around they're always flying around some drone around the office. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
It's cool. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
cool. I admit. I wish I had, had the time to play with the drones and and play the games.
So let's briefly discuss what Girls Frontline actually is. The company that's giving the video game that's actually giving us Sharkry. So Girls Frontline is a strategy game created by the developer Micah Team, a Chinese-based mobile gaming company. The first game was released all the way back in 2016 and featured like what you see here, like a more simplistic two-dimensional gameplay
Mhm.
style. And that was just kind of a necessity of having the game on mobile at the time. The player character was a commander of androids that are called tactical dolls, quote unquote, in the first game, and they're part of a private military company in a sort of like apocalyptic setting in the future. And that's just kind of like a condensed summarization of the game. But the game itself is like really narrative based. It's like really narrative rich, and it has like a serious tone despite the gameplay looking fairly vibrant for like a mobile game of the time. And each of these tactical dolls are essentially like designed around a certain firearm that they're given. So like kind of like how that Strike Witches series that we were talking about, like if, like this character is kind of dressed like kind of in a similar outfit to like what somebody in World War II would wear on the American side. Then you have like the bar and stuff like that. So kind of similar to that. But basically because of how easy it was to design new characters for this game, right now it features over 400 unique character designs. And if you can think of a firearm, they probably have a design in the game already. So I was actually at a convention a while back to meet a FuryTomic. We were just like hanging out at the time. I think it was
You mean
almost
the one I was working at? But that's a
well,
different
yeah,
story. We'll talk a
yeah,
little later.
yeah. Not the last one, but the one in October. And I'm going through some of the booths, and they had one that had like an official artwork book of the video game. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but like I didn't know exactly what kind of firearms they had in the video game, like all of them, because there's just so many of them. I opened the book because they have like a sample book, and I have have you ever heard of a Fab Arm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the FP6 shotgun, and I opened the book, and they have a character design for the FP6, and I'm like, really? Like, wow!
Yeah.
I was kind of blown away because it's not a gun that people really talk about,
Hmm.
So I'm like, they have like a lot. That's basically the first game. So the setting in the second game is that the PMC was kind of disbanded, and the commander was forced to like abandon his team. So now he's kind of like roaming more as like a bounty hunter, and like he's recruiting characters from the same as the first one, a few, but then like also new ones in the mobile base that he's going around in. It's called the Elmo, quote unquote, and they kind of just assist him in his missions and travels. And he's confronting some of the issues that he had in the past game and some new ones, but the the quality between the first game and second game is kind of astounding because everything looks kind of, drawn simplistic in the first game, and then the second one is well, I had trouble kind of finding a good video that would display that, so without being too long, but I figured this one would kind of do. It's the video that they made, I believe, for the first year anniversary celebration. And yeah, we'll just see like the quality of the models and everything here. Might be a little loud.
変わらない季節また続くだろうファインダーに映った君眩しいんだ時の果てまで僕らの物語はきっと輝いてこんだ歪んだ道とか見
the images have come a long way.
Yeah, and like I'm kind of surprised just by the like the quality of some of the modeling on the firearms are
Yeah, it
like
looks really good.
whoops. Well, we'll see them here. They so the video game itself has characters as we described with the certain firearms. So we have one of the characters here where you can see in her artwork. It's still for this from the second game,
Yeah.
but you can see in the artwork they have like a detailed version of the HK416,
Hmm.
and you also have like stuff like the Chris Vector, which
Hmm.
is designed like that. And they in the second game they try to give them like they give them like different names, so it's not just like strictly from the firearm, but sometimes
Hmm.
they match up like pretty well, and they just name like this one like Suomi. And I actually have the TNW like the semi-auto conversion of the Suomi with me. And
I've shot the original. Those are great, great guns.
yeah,
Yeah.
the only complaint I have about the semi-auto conversion is that the trigger is like atrocious.
The problem with the semi-autos is they don't operate open bolt, and the open bolt takes up all the recoil. It's just they're so smooth shooting, you can't believe it. Yeah, it's incredible machine. I got some of the mags. They fit in my. I have a Swedish K. I think it uses the same mag.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, but
Very
the
cool.
semi-auto conversions like they feel like they're kind of missing something. But it's
Well,
just what
it's unfortunate you can't own. Unfortunately, you can't own the original thing. It's amazing.
yeah. Um and now we're finally at Sharkry
Yeah,
character.
XCRs. It looks correct.
Funnily enough, the artwork that they have for her has like the newer version with like the new fast style stock and
Hmm.
the M-Lock rail system,
Hmm.
whereas
Hmm.
her like 3D model for the in game looks closer to the original one. So that's why you'll kind of see like some discrepancy. I don't know if
Okay.
that was like intentionally done to showcase both of them and then just have like the character represent both
Hmm.
or not. But so the character's personality is kind of like defined as well-meaning, but she also kind of has like a sneaky, like mischievous kind of side. And so she's always trying to do her best to increase like her popularity as a pop cultural talent within the world of the game. And so the character has like some pretty interesting moments in the story. I can think of like two really notable ones. The first one is like where the company's mostly being overrun, and until she comes in with like an attack helicopter, and the scene's actually kind of like action-packed and dramatic as it plays out. But it's kind of funny because the characters, she has her cool moments more or less, but then she also has like really funny ones that kind of contrast with that too. Another one is like where they're having like a water gun competition or something, and she's like baiting another character to like approach her while she's like fake crying, and then she basically like ambushes them. And so the character serves like kind of like a role of doing both the action scenes sometimes and then some of the like really funny scenes. And because of that, she's like one of the more popular characters in the game. And naturally, people are going to wonder, well, this is a game with characters that are based on firearms. I really like this character. Let me look into her firearm. And so the game does have like a lot of really niche or like unheard of firearms, and a lot of times that tends to like create a thing where you can't get the firearm that the character is based on, unfortunately. This is one of the few, well, at least in the second game, this is one of the few examples where you can actually get the gun and it's actually being currently produced. Do you have any questions about the character so far?
No, no, very interesting. Nice to know the background. You know.
We'll have an unexpected video. I don't know if you've seen it already, but it'll play soon. I'll let Yuritomi take this one.
I mean, it's kind of funny too that overall, even though like from popular like media culture, like Clint Eastwood in Dirty Harry. That one was a really good movie series I really liked, especially with James Bond with the Walter
Oh yeah.
PPK and Bruce Willis in Die Hard with that Beretta 92 FS. I think a lot of it, like of nowadays, it's always media, it's video games or like culture that kind of draws people to be a little more interested in guns, like especially with Girls Frontline 2. Admittedly, Girls from Line 2 was also kind of where I first heard about XCR. and Robinson Armament. And before, really didn't know much because there wasn't a lot of like media presence or so. But now with anime
Yeah,
games and guns coming
yeah,
together more.
unless you type in XCR or Robinson Armament, you're not going to see learning about it on the internet. And
Hmm.
I hired a marketing company to redo our website. It should be up shortly. That focus, well, it should get us some more traction that way. But yeah, you literally have to hear about us to find out about us,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
And there's actually a few times I've noticed that the same game, Girls Frontline, also takes inspiration from other pop culture media aspects, like Arnold Schwarzenegger with the
Uh-huh.
1887 and all that
That's a
all that fun
that's just
shit.
such a great movie. I mean,
Yeah,
they need to make more movies like that, and they don't, you know.
I agree.
It's really I don't know what's wrong with our culture in Hollywood, but I mean, I can't wait for Andy Weir's Artemis or whatever's coming out. You know, I've read the book.
Oh, I've heard about that one.
But there's just not any good sci-fi. I mean, there's probably good sci-fi books and some good sci-fi anime. That's why
Hmm.
I've seen some. But we really like the Terminator and Predator. I mean, amazing movies,
Absolutely, yeah.
amazing.
I
Yeah,
think
and
just like kind of how nowadays with Hollywood, that's kind of also my reasoning for gravitating away from Hollywood and just watch more of like international films like Japanese anime or now some Korean drama
Yeah,
shows.
the Koreans are really coming on strong. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
they really are. I watched quite a few Korean films and some sci-fi. Very good. I mean, it's great to see that. I mean, it's just sad in Hollywood. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'm glad you guys are involved with this. Well, how's your involvement with the company that makes these? I guess that's
So I'm actually a content creator. So in the past, with the very first game that they released, I was actually very big involved with creating like content videos for their community with because I like guns, and it just so happened that I also like anime too. I got a bit in more into playing Girls Frontline as a whole, and also creating content, video content for people to enjoy and just laugh or oh yeah, hey ha ha ha, very funny meme or something very relatable that they've experienced in the game that just now they see it in video format. Go haha yeah, that's very cool and very funny. Over time, I really wanted to go into more of like filming. Um, Actual firearm reviews of the guns because I've actually had some people say, "Hey, you like guns? I see you own some guns too. What do you think of this character that's in the game? And they're like, yeah, I'll do a little breakdown video and done a few already so far of one of those AR-15 variants. Another popular, like mostly the popular characters that many people like and wanted to see a review about because it's their favorite character and they want to get to know about it a little more. I've also deviated away into another series called Blue Archive. It's a little similar to Girls Frontline in the sense of guns and anime girls, but it's a whole different theme and setting, which is a little bit different from Girls Frontline in general. But a lot of people have really had like this interest in following, and it just so happened that from people from Japan who are very big into Girls Frontline and Blue Archive, they actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, I would love to have a chance to shoot these guns if I come to America." And it so happened that there's an event called Anime Expo, which is one of the largest anime conventions in the world, happening in Los Angeles. So I offered that if you're available, we can definitely schedule a range day with some other photographers, some people in also in Southern California to come out to the event and let's do a photo shoot. Let's do a fun video together. And right now on Twitter blew up to like over 1 million impressions or 10 million views. And a lot of people actually kind of found out about me just because I did this collaboration video about Blue Archive guns and Japanese cosplayers who were into Blue Archive. And this year, we're actually doing a Girls Frontline theme shoot event, also in Southern California during Anime Expo. And it just so happened that Cadena and I we were talking about this, and he has, of course, the XCR rifle. I have a few Girls Frontline inspired firearms too. We just don't have cosplayers or people who want to dress up as the characters, and
Hmm.
so we got a few people who are interested to do that, and we're kind of looking forward to making another video this time with Girls Frontline and also with the XCR.
Awesome, awesome.
Thank you.
I actually have two gifts of that event later on. Yeah, but basically you have like these kind of like characters in film, and they're like the more older traditional style of like how you would get a character associated with the firearm, and then how you would get a firearm associated with the character. So like the Smith and Wesson Model 29 wasn't,
Sure.
yeah, it just wasn't
Yeah. That's
very
my
pop.
era. I grew up in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. That's my kind of movie. They were kind of stupid. If you watch them today, you kind of have to watch them kind of tongue in cheek, but the 44 Magnum, he was just
Well, I
uh,
have a funny anecdote. I mean, I have seen Die Hard before, and the thing is my dad loved Bruce Willis like
oh
back
yeah.
then, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
how I would watch those movies.
Uh,
Like as a kid, I would watch it with them. He felt heartbroken because I had a Beretta 92 at the time, a few years back, and I had to pay for something like like a small minor like medical thing, and I didn't have as many firearms at the time, so I was like, well, you know what? Instead of like struggling, I could just sell the Beretta and then just get another one down the line. And I told him one day, and he looked like kicked a puppy. Like he was so heartbroken by
yeah.
me getting rid of the 92.
The Beretta for
I still have to get it. I still love that gun. It was I think it was my second handgun at the time, and it's a beautiful gun. I still want one, but I kind of understand nowadays. It's like, what if, like, what if I had a son and he got like an XCR and it turned out like he sold it, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's Sharkry though. Like, it has more than just. It's more than the gun itself, and yeah,
they
like,
become iconic, it's just iconic. I have a Marine that worked for me, and he just had a 92 cent here, original one.
oh,
He was served as a Marine, and I think he was issued one, so he wanted to make sure he had his own gun, own 92.
yeah,
Oh, here's
so
some of the cosplay, huh?
Yeah.
yeah, this is for a separate mobile game, but the reason why I bring it is because I'm kind of acknowledging that Sharkry as a character is kind of different from these ones, like as a
Yeah.
character tie-in. And I kind of understand that there's like it's kind of like a shift, right? So a lot of the younger crowd is getting more interested into stuff like these video games and everything. And there's a different mobile game called Umamusume, and it's basically the same concepts that we've been talking about, but now it's like let's take these famous real world Japanese racehorses and we'll turn them into girls running track,
Oh
pretty much.
wow. Oh wow.
So
Now I get it. I see
Hmm.
looking at the
um
costumes.
these two pictures I actually took because I was there at the Santa Anita park opener when they had this event. So I just went there because it wasn't super far, and I figured like some friends are gonna go. I'll just go show up. Maybe it'll be fun. Never personally myself been into horse racing, but I figured why not? Like the entry is only $10. I played the game a little bit too, for like a few months. So I was like, all right, I'll just go in there. And it's one of those things where it's like I never really ever pictured myself going to a horse racing thing. Like I did play the game, but um, go in there and it turns out I had a good time. It's not that expensive, so I might be going again soon anyway, like of my own volition, like unrelated to the video game. And so what happened there was the Santa Anita Park opener for that season was on December 28th of 2025. And the video game company that's behind the mobile game, their name is Games. What they did is they wanted to get like more into the thing that they're based on, their video game is based on. So they sponsored one of the races, and it was previously called the American Oaks. And after this deal that they had, sponsorship deal, they renamed it to the American Oaks, presented by Games. And so you would hear that through the intercom or through the announcement speakers. And so for the spectators, the only changes that really happened were you would see I don't know if you could see that logo on the right picture.
Yeah, side games.
Yeah, they had the banners there, and for most people, it was just that. And on the big screen that they have over there, they had like some of the advertisements for the game occasionally pop up, like every 5-10 minutes. And even though it was only those kind of changes, the spectators saw that it was kind of like an official thing, where this is actually like involvement with the company in the thing. Let's all flood the stadium and like just hang out, just get in there.
Mhm.
And I did speak to some of the people that were there specifically for the video game, and they were saying like, "Wow, I've never been here before at like a racing thing, and I'm getting like really invested into it now because I've had exposure to it." And so the surge of the fans that were there at the day was so much that they actually broke a few records, and it was the largest largest opener since 2016 for
Awesome.
like season opener, and it's the eighth Sunday opener in park history, just by pure raw attendance. And so on the San Anita Park like Twitter and stuff like that, you saw them like kind of leaning more into the crowd that they're getting now, that are more into this whole like animation video game kind of thing. And you see like a lot of impressions there, and you see some of the guys that were there before all this stuff happened, like some of the more the people that aren't really coming in from the video game, and they're like, wow, this is like our attendance. Famously, the attendance numbers at Santa Anita Park, like even before this stuff, they weren't that great. And like even I knew that, just being around the area, I kind of knew that attend.
So what you're telling me is that the presence of the video games focusing on this particular sport or whatever it is, it drew larger crowd. I mean
Hmm.
Yeah,
that's pretty. It's just so interesting. I mean my mind's not wired like that, but I'm sure you're right. Um, with the amount of people playing games and watching anime, it's growing, not shrinking.
Yep.
yeah, and we're thinking that hopefully with this whole Sharkry business and everything, it kind of has like that effect of getting people into like researching the XCR and kind of appreciating it more. So another event that I did go to around that area back in March of 2025 was this like pop-up shop event where they had
Ah,
like a small thing, like a small shop.
mhm,
They had a
sure.
few rides. Um, I
It's
know for
busy.
a fact that they underestimated how many people were going there because I got there, I want to say like an hour or an hour and a half just to get like in the line for the shop. The line spanned blocks and then had to go like around the block just to get like that many people in the
Wow.
line. And people were waiting for hours to get up the front. And it's funny because I could not have been like over 20 people from the front before they started admitting people in. And by the time I got there, a lot of the like more expensive items were just gone already. And I felt pretty bad for the guys that were waiting there, but it's one of those things where like I guess even the company might not have expected the second game like just brought in so many more people into the video game itself. And it's the amount of support that if you've been in with the game with the first one, like you see all the upgrades that they do to the second one, and it's been kind of surreal seeing that like pop up. And then
How long has the new one been out?
About a year and a half, I want to say.
You know what? We used to have Comic-Con here in Utah, in Salt Lake, and now they call it something else because they got in a lawsuit. They couldn't use
Ooh.
Comic-Con, but they have a huge cosplay. People are dressed. When they have this in Salt Lake, they're all over. People are just like you're saying, all over the place, just in costumes, dressed up to go. And there's some big stars that come, actually movie stars that come to it and walk around and greet. Anyway, I get it. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
basically what I wanted to get with this is we were waiting in line for so long that
Yeah.
we naturally started talking to each other, and it was funny because this was like I think a month removed from when that first post like blew up. And so I would talk to people, and I did hear in the line a lot of people bring up the XCR thing like
Wow.
in person. It was kind of surreal like seeing some of that stuff bleed over. But I did hear some people saying like, yeah, I think I want to get one now. And so yeah, when we were doing that recording stuff, I bought both of the XCRs. So if we've seen the fan stream or not, if not, we could send you that later. But
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Oh,
I'll send it to
We'll
you.
send it. We'll send him the video. We'll send him my video that I uploaded to him, so he doesn't have to watch the whole stream. It'll
Okay.
be probably easier.
Yeah. So yeah, because of the video game, I looked into the gun. I was like, at the time,
wow.
I was gonna get well, I had a SIG 556, and I like the recoil impulse, but some of the things about it wasn't a big fan of, like some of the plastic furniture and stuff like that. And so I was like, yeah, I want another piston-driven rifle, but my first thought is like, okay, so it's time to save up for an MR556. But then I see the character and I'm like, well, this one's more inexpensive and it has more features. Why don't I try the XCR? And so I buy one rifle and I'm like, hey, if this doesn't work out, like no problem. At least I have the funny Sharkry gun. And it turned out I liked it so much that I bought the second one that was closer to the older one. And now I have two of them. And that's the story of how we got two of them into the filming of
Okay.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
So
then there's the Echo One.
yeah.
I don't know if those guys are even making. I'm in contact with them, but I haven't had a royalty payment forever.
Oh man.
They still make. I have them make a couple of the stock parts for me, um, but I've talked to other people about getting ones made up so people that can't own guns in Japan and elsewhere can get at least get a airsoft.
Hmm.
So we were wondering because you guys also seemingly have like a lot of international support now. Like a lot of people internationally are talking about you guys, and there was like I remember a while back there was a video of this girl that they got dressed up as a character, and they had her like singing and stuff like in the video game, and that one got like a bunch. She got a bunch of views on multiple posts. Like this
It's
one
not a girl from France, is it?
from France.
Yeah.
Oh, Ilya.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
She's from France, US. Yeah.
yeah.
She was actually one of the official cosplayers for an event I was also working at for Girls Frontline 2 at Anime Expo. So she was one of the official cosplayers, and she happened to be Sharkry, and a lot of people really liked that. I'm
Oh,
like,
really? I didn't know
yeah.
that. I didn't know she was. She played Sharkry. I didn't know that. Well,
Hmm.
I've seen her a couple posts and I've corresponded with her a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow. Well,
Very nice lady.
this one in the picture was one that was in from an event in Korea, and that blew up, but unfortunately the Korean and the Japanese markets,
Yeah.
just like the firearm stuff. We were wondering, would you guys ever consider bringing back like an airsoft version of the XCR?
Well, we would love if I should. I need to. My friend in Taiwan. Well, I had a friend. I gave the license to, and he paid me, and we got very little from it. It wasn't worth it. Um, and he had me. I transferred it to another company, and I'm in contact with them. But I don't think they've been made. I'll have to talk to them about what they're doing. If they're not going to be making it, I should get someone else that can, that is interested in doing it. I've talked to a few at some international expos, but they haven't gotten back to me. It's funny, we're just not popular enough. They don't think people will, I think that's the problem. They don't think people will get it. But the Echo One, yeah, um, we'd like to get it back. Is this girl on the right too? Is she looks like Sharkry kind of? Is that girl in the Sharkry outfit or no?
Yeah, they had her singing. So the character's kind of based like on a pop idol in the game, and
Mhm.
so they actually had her like singing and doing like a whole
The whole thing, huh?
performance
Well, dance.
as the
Yeah.
Sharkry. This was June of 2025. It did pop up. Like there was multiple posts of her during the whole day, and people were going kind of crazy over it.
And that was in Korea, you say?
Yes. Yeah,
Well,
The Korean crowd is like surprisingly very active with Girls Frontline stuff.
oh yeah,
In
yeah, I can
Japan.
imagine that in
Yeah.
Japan. So,
Uh,
Furry, are you Japanese or Chinese? You look like Japanese.
Chinese, but
You're Chinese?
American, you know what.
My
Amer-
both my sons speak Chinese.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
one lived 2 years in Taiwan, one in Singapore. Well, actually, the one in Singapore knows more Bahasa than Chinese, but he speaks quite a bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've got two Chinese speaking kids. They're both mechanical engineers and they're making too much money doing
Oh shit.
software. They're doing software, so they won't work for me.
That's how it always goes.
Yeah. I've got a lot of
I'm
other people I consider my kids too that work here. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm actually
Uh,
from the Bay Area, so I definitely know what you mean. That yeah, there's a lot of mechanical engineers here, a lot of software engineers, and they make a shitload of money, but that's all they want to do now. It's just work at these big corporals and go, come on, guys.
yeah.
You can do something a little better and fun than that.
Yeah.
So, I'm willing to bring it up to them and ask if you guys are interested to like some sort of collaboration. I'm not too sure how or what it would
Yeah,
entice with
you could
that.
propose it to me. We are we're looking for anything that will give us, bang for the buck advertising. And just to tell
Hmm.
you where we're going. Um, uh, we're so limited on what we can do. Email marketing is ridiculous, but that's, one of our bigger things, which unfortunately I hate. I hate that way of marketing. We just hired a social media marketing company we just sent a bunch of guns out to get us some, better. They'll get us millions of views rather than tens of thousands of views. Um,
Okay.
but we're looking at anything that will, that can do it for a fee. Our gun is very expensive to make. The cost of things have gone up, which haven't made things, really great. But we're hanging in there. Our sales are up this year. Last year was, not that great, to be honest with you. But we're in anything that we think will likely do it. We don't go to many trade shows. We don't go to the SHOT Show and stuff anymore. It's so much
Hmm.
money, and people just copy our stuff. The ACR, a lot of this stuff, SIG, the ACR, and many others have basically saw our gun and tried to do kind of a version of it. Uh,
Gotcha.
they haven't, because they're not willing to really. What we do costs a lot, and they're basically AR-15 systems with piston drive or whatever. But if you look at their bolt, that's the way they operate. But you propose it, and I'll definitely look at it.
Hmm. I'll definitely later this week when I have time after because and had to change the plan for a little bit too. Some things
No,
came up.
I had trouble. I was going to do this at home, but I didn't know if I needed any guns around. I didn't have any guns just in my car, like I usually do. I took them out and sent some. I had to hurry, and we everything's made to order.
Hmm.
So when you order one, it's not on the shelf. We build it right for you, and it's both good and bad. But anyway, I had to run back down here to work at least to have a gun behind me in case I didn't know what you wanted to do. Did I need to show you something? You've got the gun, so know about them. But yeah, let me know. We stopped going to trade shows just because dollar for dollar that they're not that just don't they don't pan out that much. We went to the SHOT Show for 20 years, and just it's got people trying to sell us stuff rather than selling stuff. And people
Hmm.
walk by think it's another AR-15.
That too.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it kind of it looks, because of the grip and the mag. We go to the SHOT Show. And we have to people walk by and say, "Hey, have you seen this?" And they go, "Oh, that's really cool." Once they got and look at it, but they just would walk by. And that thing is so big. But
Hmm.
I don't know if we had time to send people to these things, but we thought there was enough, enough attendance. And California, I was going to mention California. We hardly sell anything in California, and I'm not really sure why. It seems like Californians, even though state's in a dumpster fire, it's management, but there's a lot of money down there, and
Hmm.
we we almost sell no featureless guns. And we even could do the mag or the type where you have to open the gun up
The fixed
to
magazine. Yeah.
not fixed. It's
Oh.
we got the maglock mags. We've
Oh,
sold
you do?
those.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done the maglock mags, but then the there's another way to do it where you can't drop the mag until you open the gun up. I can't remember what you
Yeah,
call
the
that.
the AR maglock system. Mhm.
Yeah, we built a prototype of that, and we could do that, but we just don't have. I've posted stuff on, and sent it to California people via email. Just nothing. I don't know.
Mm.
Maybe I don't know what I don't know what the deal is. I know they're buying a lot of other guns, but and a lot of the attitude down there is our featureless gun you can reconfigure so it's not featureless in just minutes once you leave the state, But
Hmm.
guys tell me they're doing that regardless of the law. They'll just go out and whatever and take stuff off that they shouldn't take off. And anyway,
Yeah.
but I hear a lot of that, but that's not condoned because I don't want someone to get in trouble.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I appreciate you guys' time. I didn't know how long this would take, and I didn't have this fully charged. I've got a few more minutes
All right.
on it. If there's some stuff you want to,
Let me get through the fan questions first, then, and then if we have time,
yeah, let's
we'll go
do the
back.
fan question.
All right, read them out, Fury.
All right. So this gone by guy asked, what was Ari's initial reaction to all the Sharkry mentions? I'm kind of curious.
Just kind of blown away. Like what is this? Wasn't harmful, so we weren't offended or anything. It was this is kind of interesting. What's going on here? That was our reaction. Some of my guys said like, "Hey, you got to be careful. That's a Chinese company. They're just up to no good." That's always the thing. But like I said, my kids have been to China several times and speak the language, and I'm not. I'm against communism, but not against Chinese people.
Hmm.
Um,
I think that's most of our sentiment too.
but I was impressed that they was in a game. I was impressed that
Hmm.
it was in a game, and
So one of her animations that she does is she has like another arm or such feature that helps her reload magazines. And someone jokingly asked, "How much does it to take in terms of support and money to invent a speed loader like Sharkry's?" So it's like a little robotic arm that assists with grabbing a magazine and grabs it for
I
her
think I've
too.
seen that appendage, and I didn't really get it, but now I do.
Uh,
Yeah.
we actually had a video of you've met Jonathan Ferguson, right? Of Royal Armories.
What armory?
Royal Armories in I think it's
Oh
in
yeah,
England.
yeah. How did you know?
He
You know
actually
that?
well if we have time we'll go back, but he actually mentioned that he's met you in the video in his firearm series. If you want we could
Yeah.
all right. Let's
No,
just go
we
through.
can do that. Yeah. Well, that does look like the
So I'm
original.
looking here at it says Robinson modular rifle. Is this a reference to the Robinson XCR then?
So the notes that they sent over, this is the Robinson Armament XCR from the game Girls Frontline 2 AX. The reason I picked this is mainly because the character that wields it is very popular. The rifle itself is pretty unique.
Yeah, so I was a little thrown because it didn't look like how I remember the XCR, but it has been through a few different permutations since it first appeared. We don't have one. I have met Alex Robinson. He's visited the collection before. It was a candidate for the American SCAR program at one time. It's somewhat popular in the civilian world. People have been trying to get us to look at Girls Frontline in one form or another
They
for
have.
literally years.
I've
And it
managed to
hasn't.
sneak it in.
I did not expect the Robinson XCR to be the gun.
I know that the game has some extremely obscure firearms.
So she's got spare magazines on robot arms.
I kind of dig that idea. Well, it's sort of not many miles away from Tomb Raider's belt.
Exactly what I thought of and was going to mention. Yeah, I mean it's substantially more silly than that. I was in that they're just kind of flapping around. But well, I hope you're happy with yourselves. You finally got me to talk about Girls Frontline. Happy?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
so
It's been
the
years since I've been over there.
yeah, our crowd already
Uh,
got to him. So yeah, that's what they were referencing by that. I think that was more like a joke question, but yeah, we
yeah.
it was really funny because then somebody actually pointed that video out to me and I was like, "Oh, I have to have him see it. I have to have him watch it." Uh,
Yeah, that's
I think what would be best is to go to number 40 because it was like we did discuss about this earlier, but this Xiaogo was also mentioning similar to what I was asking too, like a possibility of you guys and the developers doing like some sort of collaboration, such as even if it doesn't have to be like just firearms with the XCR, would you be interested to do something like a merchandise collaboration drop, like
yeah, sure.
t-shirts,
Yeah, absolutely.
patches, tags?
Sure.
Yeah. Or As what someone has put up a custom XCR stylized to match Sharkry.
Yeah, we could paint one up or do something, like that, or offer it for, your crowd.
Uh, I'll have these on video, but some of these are stuff we've already covered. So just for the sake of time, I'll go to the very unique ones. This one caught my interest if I can read it. Grand Theft says, "Will the XCR ever be chambered in popular straight wall cartridges like the 350 Legend, 360 Buckhammer, 450 Bushmaster, and 4570? Would be nice
Yeah,
having."
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. We were thinking about it. We used to be very restrictive on what we'd consider. Um, we actually built a 375 Raptor for a guy the other day,
yes.
just because. And that's I think the 350 Legend would be fine. And we've it probably worked fine in it. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. We'll just have, if we had enough people asking for it, it makes it a lot easier. It's pretty easy to design a gun, our gun. The 375 Raptor wasn't that hard, and they were doing subsonic and supersonic, which was kind of tough
Yeah,
in the same.
I've been
Uh,
the guy that texted before a few times like hey, would you guys ever offer the XCRM in a 45 Raptor? Because that's been my favorite like insane Wildcat cartridge. And
yeah.
if you guys did, I would just throw away my Arrow like M5 build.
You guys will have to send me a list of your favorite calibers or that you're hearing, and maybe we'll take a look. The problem, this guy, the 375 Raptor, I made him buy the reamer and send me a blank because we didn't have any of those blanks, and we did it. We made it for him because we thought it would work just by looking at the cartridge. I'll have to look at these cartridges. Someone just sent us a 6 mm max.
Ah.
Um, just that one's going to be easy if we decide to do it, but. It's hard to stock all the barrels to do these. That's the problem.
Yeah, so Doss here, I asked like his only question would be how do they feel about the greater GFL community and whatnot? We're a rather unique bunch of people.
I think they're great. I mean, anyone that likes to play with guns, I grew up, I had my first M1 carbine at 14 years old and carried it on my back as I drove through the neighborhood with my motorcycle. It was a different time. But I wish everyone would get into guns. I don't care what their religious or their other beliefs are.
Let's see, this one, I think. Look, do you think Girls Frontline and the market involved in anime generally will be a new untapped market for gun manufacturers, especially for the younger demographic, I believe most of which watch anime? And in the future, do you think more gun manufacturers will cater to this crowd?
Well, they really have, I mean, uh, the FN or these others have gotten to these games. They've got a lot of sales from games. And I know that everyone between, like 18 and, oh, I don't know, 35 or something, have been exposed. Any new gun, they've seen it on in these games. So yeah, I think it's a real thing for sure. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's untapped. I think we've been able to. I got approached by Ubisoft, and after they gave me the VP of marketing gave me his card, and I kept trying to call him and stuff, and he didn't return my calls. I mean, it was just I was a little disappointed. I was over in the UK when I met this at some show when I met this guy. But yeah, I think a lot of people watch anime, and I think it is it's not the future. I think it's now. I mean, you look if you talk to anyone young, they learned about the scar from playing Call of Duty or whatever.
Mhm.
You know,
I think that's the case for the Vector too, usually.
yeah. Mhm.
I think that's most of the unique ones. If we could just circle back to this one if you have time, because
Yeah, I got a few more minutes. I just don't want to run out in the middle of your filming.
oh, okay. Um, I actually asked you guys before because I felt like the XCR would be, after COVID, like prices of ammunition and even
Yep.
reload components were just like atrocious. And so you kind of see people in the market being like, well, I still want to go shooting, but I don't want to be like, I want to buy and use like the cheapest amount of the cheapest kind of ammunition I can find. And so you kind of start seeing people gravitate towards pistol caliber carbines and stuff. So I asked you guys, would you guys ever make like a S quote unquote model that has like the same caliber conversion stuff, but for pistol calibers? And you guys replied that you guys are about done with the PCC designs.
Yeah, we've been about done about 2 or 3 times. We designed it for use with Glock mags, and went to a couple trade shows, and people really poo-pooed the idea. They wanted a double stack mag, not a Glock mag in it. We redesigned it, and it's been hard. We're making actually a gas op gun, and it's coming along pretty good now. I mean, we're ready to start actually cutting some metal and trying it again. We made I didn't like it, and that's why it didn't come out. It was using the Glock mags, and we got a new one that has a completely new action. We couldn't use anything that we had to work correctly. The SIGs have had a lot of problems with their MCX, and didn't want to have those problems, and so we came up with a completely new action. We hope that it'll be out early this year. We've still got a bit of design to finish, but we're getting very close. It's going to be quite a bit different than the XCR. Have the same features, but it's, like I said, it's a new action to handle the low pressure 9mm ammo. It's great, and I'd like to do some 22 caliber stuff too. We've got some 22 stuff that I want to work on, because I'm just like what you're asking. You know, people can't afford to shoot. I just bought a pistol myself just to see what the competition's doing this past week. That I bought a Kel-Tec pistol, and I think we can make some improvements in a lot of things. Our engineer's very good but very slow, but we're making progress on the 9mm, and you will see a PCC from us soon.
Sweet. Looking forward to it.
We're also working on some bolt action rifles for all those markets that can't. It's very unique rifle, completely different than what you've seen. Much more ergonomic, and we're working on that at the same time, and that slowed us down a little bit. But we can't sell these semi-autos in so many places, you know, and we'd like to have some rifles we could sell worldwide again. We've lost most of our export licenses with the Biden regime, man. That was and Trump. I'm still waiting on some countries that have ordered that I can't ship to because I'm waiting on a license. But the PCCs is great. I mean, we should have had it years ago, to be honest with you, because the ammo's like 25 cents around versus 40 cents around for 223.
Yeah, and even then at the time, like I got to that's when I had to take even like 9mm, like during the COVID time. I had to take like 9mm hand loading to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start hand loading, and then it's like, oh, instead of like FMJs, I'm gonna go down to like plated bullets, and then I'm like, well, this is getting a little expensive too because of the primer prices, so let me go down to like casting and stuff like that. And even then, it's like if you want to shoot any at the time, it was like if you wanted to shoot any decent volume, you just had to like go down, keep going down and down and down. And it's like,
yeah, 22 is a good option too, you know.
Yep.
And I mean, one thing we should have done too, and that I'd like to get done eventually, is a 22 conversion for just the regular XCR that you have now. That just makes a lot of sense, so you can keep blasting away. I bought 3,200 rounds of 22 for $250.
Ooh, not bad.
That's, you know, just ammo. Just got an ammo seek. I think I found it on ammo seek. I can't remember where I found it, but that wasn't some special price. Anyone could buy it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shooting.
Indeed,
Okay.
indeed.
So I think that wraps up the interview, and this actually went like when I did the whole this whole like presentation thing was kind of like a thing I thought of only like a few days ago, and I figured like, well, if we present it this way, it'll be kind of easier to see everything that we're discussing. I did not expect it to be. I think it's almost like over 2 hours now, but
Yeah.
Sir, it's over 2 hours. What are you talking about?
yeah. But I'm pretty sure the community will really appreciate it because, you know, there's been like a lot of firearms manufacturers getting their stuff into video games and stuff like that, but this is like the first time we hear like somebody from the industry and somebody like a manufacturer actually speaking to fans of this specific video game. So it's kind of like a first for us, and it'll be a big deal in the community, I'm pretty sure. And
Well, I appreciate, didn't mean to cut you off. I just appreciate you doing it. I feel like your community is supporting us by buying some guns, and so I should spend some time with you guys. So
I appreciate it too.
yeah,
I definitely want to get one too now after doing this interview too and having shot Cadena's XCR. So I'm really willing to place an order hopefully soon. And
well, it's we appreciate you guys, and um, email me. It'll help you out.
all
you got
right.
it. I'll get your email from Cadena since he seems like he's emailed you, had a few correspondence with you lately. So I appreciate it, Alex. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you.
Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.
I'll try to get some stuff sent out to you guys, like merchandise and stuff, and
Same here.
just like
Yeah, same here.
yeah, just a little, just some Sharkry stuff to have around.
Well, we appreciate your support. Have a great one.
You
Thank
too.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.